It's current affairs
4 years course, metamorphosing into 6 years.
And news that
affects you.
What an academic academic in their leadership rococo, leadership brababare.
It's all the serious stuff.
But with a light-hearted twist.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I'm Aghogho.
Join us 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Right here.
On Hard Facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. Welcome to your Hard Facts. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. On Hard Facts, we give you the best insights into today's most important topics. We bring them to you, I like to say. We break them down and we give you the facts. And you can form an informed opinion. We're streaming this conversation on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info. And I want to hear all about how your weekend went. How did it go? What did you do with yourself? Let me know. Facebook is Nigeria Info FM. On Twitter over the weekend, I started a conversation about birthdays because it's September. Happy New Month to you. Why do Nigerians say Happy New Month, by the way? But it's something that we say around here. It's the second day of September. And interestingly, September is the month that I was born. My birthday is on the 19th of September. And I was talking on my Twitter, Sezekwesili. That's my Twitter, Ezekwesili. I was talking about how I don't like birthdays. I never get excited about my birthdays. My birthdays are actually even a little depressing. Like, I'm sad. It feels like any other day. And that's because I have all these expectations about what should happen on my birthday. You know, I expect the world to stop and notice. And that doesn't happen. That cannot happen, of course. You're not the center of the universe. You know, and when that doesn't happen, I get really, really sad and down and out of it. So I talked about that. And interestingly, a lot of people feel the same way about their birthdays. So I'm wondering if that's something that you feel as well. Now, we're not talking birthdays on Hard Facts today. In fact, we're having conversations on the big three that will include Nigerians protesting the processing and industrial development ruling at the UK embassy. That's happening in Abuja, while the company is calling for negotiation. Nigerians protest PNID ruling at the UK embassy while the company calls for negotiation. Our second story on the big three, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway partially closed. And police in Lagos arrest and release 128 men coming from Jigawa by lorry. You saw that story, didn't you, over the weekend? And you saw videos as well. We'll talk about those today on the big three. It's coming up in a few minutes. Today on Checkpoint, we'll have conversations about the borders that have been closed until further notice. Closed, we hear, to stop smuggling or to control smuggling. What's that about? Let's talk about that at 4 o'clock today. And on the big hard fact, we're looking into the Lagos State Assembly's probe into the 45 billion naira that the last administration spent on buses. 5 p.m. today, we have that conversation with Oboh. It will be very good. And that's it. We'll wrap things up as usual with I Beg to Differ. And throughout the show, our fantastic news team will be bringing you the latest stories in the world of sports, in the world of entertainment and business news. But let's get started with the big three.
This is the Big Three.
The big three on Hard Facts.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
You know what to expect on the big three stories that everyone is talking about right now. Should Nigeria be protesting or negotiating with PNID? Why is the work on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway unending? For as long as I've been alive, there's always work happening there. Why is it unending? And what exactly is suspicious about an Okada rider? Let's have these conversations, get into these stories. There was a protest at the United Kingdom High Commission in Abuja calling for the reversal of the judgment against the Nigerian government in the PNID case. A coalition of civil society groups organized the protest and has said that they would continue to picket the High Commission every day this week, unless the verdict, which grants the gas company over 3 trillion naira, is overturned. The Attorney General at the time of the contract award, Michael Aghogho, has called the contract fraudulent. Aghogho said the contract was never discussed at the Federal Executive Council as required by the law. He has called on the government to investigate and prosecute everybody who's involved, including the firm. Meanwhile, PNID has asked the federal government to stop stalling and return to the negotiating table. The company said that the government should stop what it called slander and a sham probe, and that it remained ready to come to terms with Nigeria on the issue. And my first question is, can you protest a court order? Because here's the thing about this PNID case. The contract exists. We have seen it in black and white. The contract was signed. And one of the provisions of the contract is that any disputes should be taken to arbitration in the UK, and that the decisions of the arbitration panel should be upheld by courts in the UK. So basically, it looks like Nigeria signed away the rights to judge any case here in Nigeria. So the idea of protesting against the ruling in the UK, it's quite puzzling to many people. It's quite puzzling. Then there's the question of whether the contract itself is valid or illegal. I was talking to a few lawyers, and they're saying that if it can be proven that some members of government tricked PNID into getting into an illegal contract, then government is not responsible for the contract, but would have to cooperate with the PNID to apprehend the scammers. But these lawyers I spoke to also say that this defense, this fraud defense, it should have been brought up earlier in the case, during the arbitration or during the court case. Because bringing it up right now is late in the day, especially since Nigeria sat on the arbitration proceedings and agreed to abide by them. And so here's my question for you. Do you think that this was a legitimate contract, or was there fraud? Who was defrauding whom? Have you been following this story? Should PNID care? Who should pay for this fraud? If the government did not dispute this matter in arbitration and in court, is it too late to do it now? What would you advise the government to do? To fight or to negotiate? What do you think of the protest happening in Abuja? It's not happening. It happened in Abuja today. What do you think of that? Our numbers are 01277-1993, 01277-2993, and 01277-3993. Now, we have a number that we are leaving for only our female callers. If you are a woman and you like to call into the news and current affairs shows, the number that you should be calling, and that number is for you only, is 01277 or 993. That's our number for women. It's our female line. 01277 or 993. Only women can call that line. 01277 or 993. If you're a man and you call that line, we're not going to pick it. But if you're a man, you can call all the other numbers. 01277 1993, 01277 2993, 01277 3993. We've got a few people calling us now. Hello. Hello? Is anyone there? No one's there. Okay, that's quite unfortunate. Let's talk to our king. Hello, our king.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
My take on this
PNID matter.
PNID matter is that, number one, there has not been a case from day one. It may fail to make us to know that if you are bringing money to invest in this country, there is a form called Form D, which you will fill.
Okay.
Then if you are bringing machinery, it's Form M. And according to the report, nothing like that is inside the CMB report, stating that PNID brought anything like $40 million. The site, nothing is going on there in Calabar. So the FEC did not approve this. The Attorney General said it himself. He's not aware who now signed him on behalf of Nigeria. Is that not a scam? And have you written the report from the former Minister of Finance, Okonjo-Iweala, on this? So it's as if I would just advise the government. They should keep on fighting. This is a fraud.
So they should not negotiate. They should keep fighting.
Nothing like, okay, now they've given them 9 billion naira worth of this thing. Why are they asking for negotiation again? If they know this thing is real. I smell a lot of rats under this thing. They should keep on fighting it out.
Keep fighting it, Akin says. Christopher says that the government should try and negotiate. Christopher, welcome.
President Sandra.
Good afternoon.
Finally, you people take us off that number for women alone. President Sandra, maybe when I help us now. Good one. Back to the matter. You see, how come people never see anything wrong with this government? Now, the CBN governor is telling us that there's no Form D, Form whatever. They didn't bring any money. How come the federal government want to settle out of court? How come they are trying to beat the price down? Nobody want to tell whatever is happening. They made a mistake. They score home goal. Rather than them to come out and apologize, oh, we are sorry, we will do this. You didn't go to court when they call you.
I like that analogy. Score home goal.
Now somebody coming to tell us that Emefiele told them that they didn't get from D, they didn't get from N. Emefiele didn't know about all this when the federal government is saying let's settle out of court. Instead of 9 billion, or how many billion, we will pay 600. Please, they should try and sit up. Thank you.
Thank you for calling and sharing your thoughts, Christopher.
Thank you, President Sandra.
All right, so we've got Davo. Davo's in Lekki. Hello, Davo.
Hello, Sandra.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Yes, as far as I'm concerned, there's no case because according to Emefiele's own contribution, I was much more clearer with what Andoka said today. And what he said, I think is done. Because any contract that is to be awarded must go to the Federal Executive Council, must have to sit and discuss. This one never discussed. They never discussed it at the Federal Executive Council meeting. That is one. Number two, it was an attorney. There's a judge of a high court that was almost retiring that signed the contract. That's a 6 months to her retirement. She signed the contract, and that was at that time. Yaradua was not even there was that rumor whether he's dead or not dead. And there were so many shenanigans. And according to Andoka, he said that there was a discussion, and it was them that brought the proposal, not that there was an agreement between the side of the federal government of Nigeria and also the PNID of the international company. So there was nothing, and they don't even have there was no mobilization fee. They had even nothing. It was a proposal they brought, and they now use that as a litigation. And I think the Maleme did not really try. The present Attorney General, he did not really try because he would have taken up that issue and bring it to the public domain and also follow it up with the UK government. But the way it was, he decided to just hide everything behind the corners, and that was this is where we now find ourselves. So I urge the government to be more proactive in the way they do their things. Even the way they do their appointment of ministers is not supposed to be like that.
Okay, well, thank you, Davo, for calling and sharing your thoughts. Let's move on to our second story. We've got Prince YS, who's called us on line 1, but line 1 is for women only. So Prince YS, call us back, call us on a different line. Now, our big 3 today, Nigerians protest PNID ruling at the UK embassy while the company calls for negotiation. And our second story, Lagos-Ibadan Express partially closed. Let's talk about that next on the Big 3. I am Sandra Ezekwesili. This is 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Stay right here on the Big 3 on 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is the Big Three
The Big Three on Hard Facts.
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
31 past 3. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Our second story on the Big Three today. And yes, when you do call us, you can actually leave us your thoughts on the first story with P and IB. But our second story is the closure of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is partially closed due to rehabilitation work on the Berja-Ogun section. The Ogun State government has advised travelers to use alternate routes and to budget more travel time for their journey. Now, we know that FRC has deployed 480 personnel to handle that closure. And then there are, of course, diversion signs that you need to obey. So you have a few places that you have to pay attention to when you are traveling on that route. And I'm going to be sharing that list with you as the show goes along. But what I want to talk about really are these problems with the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. I find these problems quite baffling because work has been going on that road since I was a child. Year after year, we hear about sections of the road being closed for repairs and traffic being diverted, right? Once in a while, we hear that the contract for rehabilitation of the entire highway has been awarded. Yet here we are in 2019. It's almost 2020. And the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway closed again. Still has not been completed. It's really quite scandalous if you think about it. And I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to talk about the number of kilometers of road that countries like China have rolled out in the last 10 years or 20 years. I don't want to think about it. I don't talk about it. In the time that it's taking us to fix Lagos-Ibadan, China has rolled out a number of roads. It makes you wonder what it is about us here in Nigeria that makes it difficult for us to complete civil works like roads. And then the other thing that I think about, I always find the problems baffling, like I said at first. The other thing that I think about is, has any of the companies responsible for getting this road finished ever received a punishment or even a reprimand from not delivering the road? These companies are probably getting other contracts from government. Perhaps one of the reasons that we have so many abandoned projects and so many incomplete contracts is that there's very little long-term penalty for the contractors. Maybe if contractors went to jail or were made to refund money that they were paid or were blacklisted from future government contracts, they'll sit up and ensure that the projects were finished. Also, the same thing for government officers who award the contracts. Because if you award a contract, part of your job must be to make sure that the contract is executed properly. There has to be monitoring and evaluation. How can road construction be a problem for so many years and nobody in the Ministry of Works has faced the music? How? And then, of course, there's the issue of notice. People were not informed about this closure ahead of time. Normally, a closure of a road that important should be known days ahead of time so people can plan their trips. Do you think that the warning was early enough? Should people have been given earlier notice about the partial closure? Why do you think this Lagos-Ibadan Express has taken so long to complete? It reminds me of the East-West Road in the Niger Delta. That one was one of my biggest headaches when I was working in Port Harcourt. That one has been going on my whole life. Why are these road projects so hard for us? Road. I always say roads are things that the Egyptians figured out before Christ was born. The Persians figured out before Christ was born. The Romans figured out before Christ was born. Ordinary road. Why is it so hard for us? Don't forget our female-only line is 01277 Only women can call that line, 01277 Only women. If you're a man and you call 01277 I'll yab you when I pick the call. And then there's all the other numbers that men can call, 01277 1993 and 01277 is for women only. But the women can also try and call all the other numbers, but men cannot call 0993. We've got David in Aja. Hello, David. Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
You know that there is no accountability in Nigeria. Let me tell you, that road, you will see that even the next administration will be, from where this administration starts.
Okay.
Remember in 2018 when Jonathan came to Lagos to approve that road? It's not only Jonathan administration. Because of what? There is no seriousness. We don't have anybody accountable in anything they do. So they play under our integrity and intelligence. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for calling, David. We have Ekaite in Ikeja. Ekaite is calling our female-only line. Hello, welcome. Hello. Oh, quite unfortunate. That line is not working. All right, please inform tech that line 1, the female-only line, isn't working. They need to fix that ASAP. I'm so sorry to all the women who will attempt to call their special line, but you can try and call any of the other lines. Ekundaya, hello.
Yeah, good evening, Sandra.
Good evening, welcome. You're sounding very faint.
Well, can you hear me better now?
Just go ahead.
Yeah, well, the genesis of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is that the budgetary allocation over the year, they just make allocations without funding. So over the years, the reason there is that neglect up to now is because they make, for every year it appears in the national budget, but there is this funding backing that they don't make. So that's the reason why the construction is still going on up to this present moment. Now, you raised a query about short notice. There was actually about 2 months ago when they were about to embark on this present repair work. There was an outcry that it was near to Salah and that people will be traveling this, that, and so on. That's why it was delayed to, I think, today or so, 2nd of September. So that's the reason I've been following the issue. So these are the problems that we have in Nigeria about projects. You also talked about abandoned projects. All those projects are abandoned because although the projects appear in the budget, but our finance minister and so on, they don't do their work. They don't give it cash backing. And once there is no cash backing for a project, of course, the contractor will be foolish to spend his money on a contract when he doesn't even know when he will take the money back. That's the reason. Thank you.
All right, Ekundaya, thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. Now, the portion of the road that is set for reconstruction is from Berger bus stop to Kara Bridge. And like I said, security and traffic management officials have been deployed to that area to control security and the traffic situation. So they're going to help and let you know what parts of other parts of the roads to use if you are going out of Lagos. I can only imagine what a horror it must be to travel today. Tunji is in Festac, says Nigeria is not taking that route seriously. What do you mean? Tunji, hello.
Hello.
Welcome. You don't think Nigeria is taking that route seriously?
We are not serious. That's just what I'm going to say. How can you leave a road that is that important for how many years? It doesn't make sense. We are talking about something that will make economy work for people. You are not taking it so serious. The truth of the matter is this. There are some people in the government that are benefiting from doing this thing over again. If that's the only reason that we are talking about, what do you call it? Fighting corruption. Fighting corruption. If we are fighting corruption, how can you come in as a government that is fighting corruption and leave it just like that and say, okay, they should just continue doing the way things have been doing again. Call out the people that are supposed to work, that are supposed to complete this work. Talk to them. Why is this thing delayed? Are they not being paid? If they have been paid, okay, tell us why are you delaying on this work? Let's do the right thing. That's the only way we can move forward.
All right, Tunji, thank you for calling and sharing your thoughts. We've got Beauty in Lekki. Hello, Beauty.
Hello?
Is your name Beauty?
No.
Oh, that's quite unfortunate. Well, call us back if you can. Our last call is from AD, who says it's a welcome development. What's a welcome development? The roads?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Very close to my house, and it's welcome development because that place is death trap. It's my normal route every day going back home, but I don't know now. My head is skewed. I don't have to tell them, but now I've got home. And then just need to close it, and the road is there, then I move. Follow the pass through the alternative road, but it's a welcome development. It's long overdue. That is for those that pass through that place way back for. No, that road is bad, as in bad. Thank God that they are doing it now and it's the right time. It's been there for long.
Oh, sorry about that, AD. Thank you so much for calling and sharing your thoughts. Our final story shook the internet. But let me take this comment from Chike in Akute, who says, "Good afternoon. It's absurd protesting a court judgment. If there was a valid contract, then the government should look for a soft landing, negotiate, and save face. People should protest against their government, not the firm. The government came into power in 2015. Yes, indeed, they came into power in 2015, but it wasn't them that initiated or enacted this contract. It was governments way before them, even before technically it was the Jonathan administration because he was vice president when this contract came to be. Send us messages on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. The Lagos State Police Command has released over 120 men that it detained during the weekend as they came from the north by truck. According to police public relations officer DSP Bala Elkanah, the men were held after a tip-off about suspicious activity, but nothing incriminating was found on them. And Elkanah said the men were mostly commercial motorcyclists and artisans, and while some were coming to Lagos for the first time, many were residents who already work and live here with their families. Now, earlier, the Lagos State government's official Twitter handle had posted a picture of one of the trucks and reported that the men had been arrested for, quote, illegal movement, end of quote. And when I saw that, my first thought to myself was, I thought we had freedom of movement. When the Lagos State government tweeted that statement, there was serious backlash on Twitter, but there was also some support. There were some supporters, so it turned into this big debate on Twitter over the weekend. The people criticizing the state government were pointing out that movement is not illegal. These men were traveling from Jigawa to Lagos. That's not a crime. They didn't cross any international border, so they don't need a passport or a visa. They were coming to Lagos in the same way that somebody like me came to Lagos. I came to Lagos for work. I hopped on a plane with over 100 people, and I came here. Did anybody arrest me and my plane when we landed? Were we accused of illegal movement? No, because it is perfectly normal for Nigerians to travel from one state to another for business or for pleasure or to settle down and work. But the government had supporters, and for the most part, they were tying their argument to security. These days, they said, there are lots of security threats. There are so many kidnappings. There are bandit attacks. And these crimes are starting to enter Lagos. So according to them, any suspicious movement needs to be monitored. But the response that they were getting on Twitter was that the action this weekend went just beyond monitoring them. Nobody disagrees that the police has a right to question them. But should they have been detained? Should the government have announced to the public that they committed a crime that doesn't exist, by the way, illegal movement? And remember, these men had their faces displayed on social media in connection with non-existent crime. And now you have the police coming out to say they were in fact completely innocent. Nothing incriminating was found on them. They were just people traveling. For some of them, Lagos is already their home. So I'm curious what you thought of all of that back and forth that happened over the weekend. Did the state government do the right thing by announcing the arrest? How can movement be illegal? I'm curious what you're going to say. Are we heading towards intolerance in the name of insecurity or the name of security? Is this any different from arresting any young man with a laptop? 012770993. That line is for women only. We want to hear the voices of more women on the show, on all our shows, and that's why we've dedicated a line to women. And I know that people are messaging me on WhatsApp and Facebook and saying, Sandra, this is discrimination. Why do you have a line for only women? We want to have more women on the phone. I'm tired of hearing only men. I want to hear more women. And women have opinions about current affairs. So call the female-only number, 012770993, if you are female. If you are male, you can call any of the other three numbers, 012771993, 012772993, 012773993. If you're female, you can call any of those numbers as well. But the one that is specially for you is 012770993. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you, Austin from Lexi.
Austin, welcome.
Sandra, how was your weekend?
It was good. How was yours?
Fine, happy new month.
Thank you. Same to you. Go ahead.
My darling sister, leave all these government officials.
Okay.
This is Fela called them party government. How can a government look at the recent thing they're telling information they're giving us that they bargained for this road to be constructed within 2 or 3 years. Now they're giving us another framework of it will end from that 2022 or 2023. Who is fooling who? And our government have they have no economic strategy whatsoever for the masses. Okay, look at Ajekuta company steel. This is where government invests hugely. Look at NEPA. This is where they invest hugely because this is where they will benefit, including this about the express road. Can't so many numerous projects Nigerian government didn't carry that. Look, they only carry out a particular project that will favor each particular administration and not the one that will be favorable to the masses. Look at the short information they are giving to the masses that they are going to close this particular road without even the so-called alternative measures they have put in place are not favorable to the masses. It is hard time our government begin to do things as it is being done in ordinary countries than taking us backward on daily basis. I'm sick and tired of this country. God bless you.
All right. Please don't be sick and tired, Austin. We've got Kingsley Uzoma on Twitter who says, I was 8 when I heard government was working on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. I am 32 and that road is still under construction. Is this country serious? He's asking. Murtaza Miki Yusuf on Twitter also says, Sandra, Nigeria is in soup over the PNID matter. The federal government should quickly find a way out of this mess. No idea why the work on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is unending. An unregistered Okada rider is suspicious, dangerous, and a threat to life. I will tell you my story. Emmanuel Olofin Tuyi says, but you know, due to the Boko Haram insurgency, the police had to arrest them. If we say that, then we are inadvertently making excuses for police that arrests young men simply because they have locks and tattoos and they are carrying laptop. What do we say? Rotimi is calling line 1. Rotimi is male, so we're not going to pick that call. Hello, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, how are you?
My name is Ade. I'm calling from Ejigo.
Ade, welcome.
Yeah. Those people came to Lagos through Jigawa. That's what they will tell you that they are Nigerian. But I'm telling you, we are sleeping in this country. Okay. They will come through northern border. Then by trailer, they will come to Lagos. They will tell you they are from Jigawa. They are from so place. That's what they will tell you.
Okay.
Well, let's wait and see. You will see. We'll see. Let's wait and see.
We'll hear more, he thinks. Yeah. Ade, thank you for calling us. Joseph is in Victoria Island. Let's talk to Joseph now. Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Joseph. I'm calling from BI.
Yes, welcome.
You know, about the contract issue. Let me tell you, UK court It's not like our court here. If those people, the P and this company, if they did not have evidence or contract signed, they wouldn't have, given them that judgment. The fact remains that some people have signed that contract on behalf of federal government of Nigeria. So it doesn't matter what anybody is doing now, protesting now. It will not work. So what I will advise the government, to go into negotiation with them. At the end of the day, anybody that that signed that contract that did not go through process, can pay for it. Then on Lagos Ibadan Expressway, I don't have issue closing that part of the road. But my issue is that we have Ikorodu Shagamu Road. We have on Abekuta through Sango Ota Road.
Okay.
If the government is going to close such an important road, why they should have fixed those two roads before they close that one? I don't know why we are not doing things right in this country, and it's not good. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph, for calling us. We've got comments. Chike says, good afternoon. It's really stereotyping the people from Jigawa as jumping to conclusion by government without facts, technically defeating justice. I'm not sure I understand what you hoped to say there, but thank you, Chike, for sending that message across. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Martin.
Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, calling from Satellite. I think this issue of people coming from Jigawa to Lagos, the best option is to go back to what Fashola did when he was governor, to just ban Okada on the expressway, and this is with fizzle up. Because everywhere is exposed to Okada people now from different parts of the country. But if he bans Okada on the expressway, everywhere will become. They will go back to where they came from. I think it could be a solution to this unnecessary inflow of people from strange places to Lagos.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from the eastern part of the country.
Imagine that somebody had stopped a bus that was carrying you when you were coming in from the eastern part of the country and treated you the way these young men from Jigawa were treated. Would you be saying the same thing?
No, I'm concerned about the Okada issue. Not people. I think it's because of the way they came to Lagos. If they have come in a normal way, in a bus, I don't think they will be harassed.
They came in a lorry. There are different modes of transportation. Lorry or plane or ship or bus or all not transportation. No be so?
Yeah, but the way you enter the state will be suspicious. I think that's one. Because of people, the place is exposed to Okada riders on the expressway. That's why anybody can come here because of this Okada business. But if it's banned as it was when Bachelor was here, it will be they won't
not have this problem. Well, thank you so much for calling to share your thoughts. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
This Chooks from Aja.
Go ahead, Chooks.
Yeah. In Lagos Ibadan Expressway, I think there has been about 2 or 3 times where when the contract, according to the minister, that report I heard from him, that the project has been reviewed. Before the islander, they said there are some ancillary works which were added, like the overhead bridges and some lay-bys and whatever, which they need to include. I think maybe because of that, you need to confirm, do your investigation and confirm. That's number one. Then number two, concerning the money, the assets, when you are praying that you don't want to eat the food of your stepmother, and here is your mother that does not cook any food that you will eat. Like Sandra, I always say, I beg, Joe. I think that's the situation we are. It's a court case, and court has given injunction, and these assets are in the UK. So they have the yam, they have the knife. So all what we are just doing about protests in Nigeria here is just let them go again tomorrow. You see, even now our security people that we ban, but we are in the era of arrest now. They will just carry them, and the court will tell them to be kept under lock, maybe for another 60 days. So that is my own take concerning that.
All right, thank you so much for calling us, Emmanuel. Prince YS is in Amoa Duffing. Hello, Prince. Unfortunately, Ore, that line isn't working. So please tell the tech team that line isn't working. They should work on that port and get it to work for us. Paulie Demudia from Surulere says the PNID matter, it's not clear enough for the ordinary man out there to comprehend. What is the original terms of the agreement? Who are the signatories to this contract? Did they fully pay their counterpart fund for this contract? Did the English court fully exhaust all available possible options before awarding this humongous amount against Nigeria? Who are the Nigerians that benefited from this fraud? They must be fished out and be taught a very bitter lesson, irrespective of party, tribe, and ethnic. I don't know what he was going to write with the ethnic. Aghogho stepped into the studio. Have the morning show talked about this PNID matter, Aghogho?
Well, it's an ongoing story, and from all the reactions I'm getting, does happen that they're going to try, the jaw on one side, and then try to do strong arm politics on the other side. But what is really fascinating is the fact that we're not getting the full details of what has happened yet. Every now and again, we get some piece of information saying, for example, I did read one a couple of hours ago that the PNID actually had a meeting with the government last year, and they had agreed to a sum of money, and then over the technicalities of the document and what exactly was to be agreed on at the end was what was denied. But obviously, from what I understand, there's plenty of arm twisting on this one, and there's also plenty of cajoling. But we probably would not know the fine lines until they arrive at something. And don't be surprised, people be smiling at one another at the end of the day. But I hear it's how the deal goes. People reading the art of the deal maker. Probably what is going on between the PNID and as well as the government. But these are really interesting times.
Yeah, interesting time to be alive. Okay, everybody's talking about the fact that we have a special line for women. Aghogho, what do you say to these people who are talking about that?
It's great, and we'll fix up the problem very soon, and so that people who are saying how many women have called so far, we can shame you guys at the end of the day to show that this method is going to work. But it's very important that we have women say what they have to say, because I did some research some years ago, trying to find out how loud the voice of women was in the media, and unfortunately it was low. Whether it's in the media, whether it's in the print or that which is text-based or the electronic, very few women were speaking, and this was because they weren't given the opportunity to speak. So this line will give more women the opportunity to speak on all the issues that concern everyone.
That's right. And that's going to happen on every show. So expect to hear Colin Stecker tell you that 012770993 is for women only. When you talk to Oyinye on the weekends or on the Midday Dialogue, she'll tell you the same thing. When Mimon Sheriff will tell you the same thing. Dr. Tolu on the overnight will tell you the same thing. The sports guys as well, that the female-only line is 012770993. It's here to stay. Deal with it. This is not a democracy. Coming up is Checkpoint.
Yeah, Checkpoint. We are going to go to the borders and find out what is happening with them. I'll be right back with you after this. Please stay with us.
Hard Facts will be right back.